We can get more on this now and speak to Kris, who's the director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding, and he is with us in the studio. So there's pressure on Syria, but I don't remember hearing of anybody saying they were about to invade the country or launch attacks. So why is the president saying this?
Because he knows that the vast majority of Syrians, actually what they really fear is exactly that, foreign military intervention. So this is part of a scare tactics, and it's what these regimes do so well. So he's saying to the West, ultimately, if you invade Syria, if you intervene in Syria, there'll be massive, massive consequences. But that is also going out to the people. That is a danger. And remember that there are people in the Syrian opposition, particularly externally, who have talked about this. And we've had a protest last Friday calling for no-fly zones, which is really military intervention. But also, notably, he's also saying to the inside in his interview that you've got a choice. You've got me or these Islamists. Now, who do you want? Do you really want these guys? And then he's saying to the opposition, the people fighting them, he said, you guys are terrorists. In other words, the coded language there is, this is how we deal with terrorists. We shoot you down. You know exactly what happens. And he's inserting, really for the first time here, Al-Qaeda into the rhetoric as well. This is not something that he's done before. It's not something the regime has done before, partially because one of the things Syria had always tried to proclaim as one of their successes had been that Al-Qaeda didn't really exist in Syria. So to say that it was there and present, which it's not, is almost an admission of failure.
When you talk about the regime, how much of this is down to the president and how much of it is down to the people around him whispering in his ear?
Well, it's quite difficult to know exactly this, but there's certainly an inner family council that includes his younger brother, Maher al-Assad, who a lot of people see as the hard man of the regime. There's also his sister, Bushra, his older sister, who's very key. And there's also all the heads of the various military intelligence agencies. These are the key people. There are then also the ministers and the vice president. Frankly, these people are there at the regime's beck and call, and it's questionable how much power that they have. But it's really the security services that are keeping him in place. Why? Essentially, they have no more props to keep the regime in power. They've lost really the Ba'ath Party as a meaningful organisation, the Parliament as a meaningful organisation. If the security services left, say, a city like Homs now, the third largest city in Syria, there would be huge demonstrations. And they know this. It's only the security services that stop these demonstrations going into the hundreds of thousands.
But almost the whole world really is now saying to him, you can't keep killing your people, and is really saying to him, you've got to stand down. Will there come a point when he just can't resist that pressure anymore, do you think?
I doubt it. I think that it's going to be a long, long process, because he knows, and the people at the centre of the regime knows, that there's not going to be really any military intervention. They don't see this coming over the horizon for all sorts of reasons. A lot of states can't afford it economically. There's no political will to do it, or the military forces to do it, and that any attack in Syria certainly would endanger the region in terms of, because of its very rich sectarian and ethnic mix. It could suck in other countries. You've got the issue of Israel, its neighbours like Lebanon that's had a sectarian-based civil conflict. All would be affected. So in a sense the regime uses that. It uses the fear of the alternative. What we're not getting from Bashar, though, is something positive and constructive. He's not saying, look, this is my vision. This is what we can do. This is where I can take Syria. It's all about the fear. He talks about reform as if saying that he has offered reforms. Well, most Syrians really haven't seen this. And he's been in power since 2000, and the reforms, well, limited at best if you're being kind.
Kris, thank you very much indeed. Fascinating stuff.
Much indeed. Well, a reality check also needed for the National Transitional Council. They need to start paying wages, they need to start getting infrastructure up and running, and therefore they need cash. So let's bring in our Kris from the Council for Arab-British Understanding. So how important, therefore, was it that the UN agreed to release the cash that's held in Britain to the NT?